Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. As you know, I'm Kamari Ellis, the Finance Rebel. This is our regularly scheduled Saturday wealthy conversation. Listen, real quick, I wanted to apologize. Real quick because I did not show up on Wednesday for various reasons. It was the end of tax season. I got swamped. I got totally swamped. And I just didn't finish that night until like 3 o'clock in the morning. So, I wanted to give that apology first and foremost because, normally I'm here every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And so I just wanted to apologize real quick for that. But I am here on Saturday. So, as promised, I do Wednesday at 8, Saturday at noon. Like I've been telling y'all, I'm looking to add in some more times that I come on a regular basis so we can talk about this money. We can talk about business. We can figure out how to increase our financial IQs for everybody. So that's why I'm here today, as usual. But again, I apologize for missing out on Wednesday. It won't happen again. Now, today we are going to be talking to a very, very special guest, Miss Sunni Speaks. Now, Sunni Speaks is having a little bit of technical difficulty, but she will be on shortly. That's going to be an actually really, really good conversation talking to a young lady who's my favorite chef. And she also happens to be a vegan chef, but she makes it so fun. So fun. So as we're waiting for her to come on and clear these technical issues, I want to talk about something real quick. As I'm wrapping up the tax season, the super duper long tax season, I feel like it still hasn't ended yet. But there's some things I think people should be thinking about as it relates to taxes, as it relates to the tax season, because many of us are really missing out on a major opportunity. As we all know, we all have to pay Caesar. We have to render unto Caesar what Caesar is due. Basically, we got to give Caesar his bread. We got to give Caesar his money. Caesar being the IRS or the United States government. Many of us wait to the last minute. Many of us are not organized when it comes to our paperwork. Many of us are taking the advice of these social media people who are telling you to kind of get money fast and get money real slick. And I'm here to tell you that ain't the way to go, folks. That is not a way to go. Oh, good evening. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Miss Edith, how you doing? I missed you on Wednesday. I just told everybody I apologize for not being here. Jay Cherie, so excited about this conversation. Good. Thank you, Jasmine. Also, Jasmine, I got my new mask in, so we are Gucci right now. Ms. Edith says, I'm a team member of your guest and the Derek Grace post-Trump course. Okay. All right, cool. So without further ado, my guest is here. The technical difficulties are over and we're going to get busy. So I invited this special young lady on today because she is hilarious. She cracks me up. She gives me all kinds of names, calls me all kinds of names online, all good names though, all good names, all positive names. But she has made tax season a little bit more fun for me this year. So I want to say
early, man. You start early.
That's right. I want to say hello to Miss Sunni Speaks. She is my favorite chef, my favorite vegan chef, and she just makes cooking look so much fun. How you doing, Sunni?
I'm wonderful. How about you?
I'm good. Okay, so Miss Edith says she met you through a Zoom meeting. Okay.
Yes, that's my post-Trump cousin.
Right. So listen, Sunni's got people all over the place. You got fam all over the place. So today, So today I wanted to talk to Sunni about her business, her approach to business, because she makes everything fun and she adds herself to everything. I see people sometimes talk about business and they're all stiff, they're all prim and proper, but Sunni gives it to you raw. And I think that's so awesome. And I think a lot of people can learn from her as they begin to build their business and do their thing. So Sunni, tell everybody who you are, what you do, and how you got here.
Well, my name is Sunni Speaks. I am a vegan chef. I'm a vegan inventor, vegan educator, caterer. I wear a lot of hats. I can say that. I wear most, I won't say all, but I wear most of hats when it comes to veganism and getting Black folks prepared to either transition to vegan or just do a little bit better with their eating. Because not all of my clients are 100% vegan. So I just help people with that. I live on Instagram. That's where my cousins are for the most part. And I do a live cooking class every Tuesday at 7. That's 100% free for the people. It's live. They can come in, ask questions about brands, about what we're cooking, about different ingredients. And I think that's pretty much it. I try to make it relatable, make people laugh and stuff, because I think people tend to be rigid, or they expect it to be super rigid, like with veganism, like, hey, you can't eat this, you can't do that. And I'm just like, it's really not that serious. Like, a lot of y'all is the reason why people don't want to be vegan.
All right, first question. What is a vegan?
What is what?
A vegan.
Okay, so the technical definition of a vegan is a person who does not consume or use any products made from animals. So technically, if you want to be technical, I'm actually not a vegan. So what does that mean? So you don't eat any meat. Of course, that's your chicken, your beef, even down to your fish. And then also you don't eat any animal products. So you don't eat any dairy. So no milk, no yogurt, no cheese, which I know, even though it be messing y'all up, Black people love them some cheese. And you don't eat anything animal products, all the way down to the super strict vegans, in my opinion. So they don't eat or consume anything with honey. So because honey is made by bees, it's considered an animal product, and that makes you vegan. I'm a little bit more loose with my veganism because I use honey in my skincare products, because honey really does work well for your skin. It's a humectant. It keeps your skin moisturized. I try to use local, organic, ethically sourced honey, but the vegans, there's such a thing as the vegan police. The vegan police would say that I'm not actually vegan because I use honey in my skincare products, but you know what I mean? It got me looking good. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, wait a minute. So yes. honey is not vegan. It's not natural. No. But it's not
about whether it's natural or not. It's about whether the product is produced by an animal and if there's an element of cruelty to it. So with meat, of course, obviously, something has to die. So that's the most harsh form of cruelty, right? Then people who are vegetarian usually still consume milk and eggs, right? Because milk, nothing has to die. You're just drinking cow's milk or goat's milk or whatever animal you're into, right? But there's a huge level of cruelty when it comes to the dairy industry, right? So because if you think about milk in general, so milk is for baby animals. So for example, if you were a woman and you were pregnant, your breasts fill up with milk to feed and give nutrition to your baby, right? Because your baby can't feed itself. So the same thing happens with cows. In order for us to get the milk, the baby calf has to be taken away from its mother, because if the calf drinks the milk, then we don't get the milk. So what happens on these dairy farms is you have cows who are artificially inseminated, which means that they use like these long needles and they put it there to, get the cow pregnant. Right. And so that she'll produce milk. And so their milk, I actually, in my personal opinion, I think the dairy industry is way harsher than the meat industry, right? So they get the cow pregnant, she has the baby, and then they actually, we see MacArthur and it's like, oh, the farmer, and, he's doing that. That's not what happens. It's this electronical machine. They put it up to the cow's teats and suck it dry and all that stuff. And for any women who have had kids, you know how uncomfortable breastfeeding can be, especially when you're not really used to it. The latching on, the mastitis, which is when the milk gets backed up, you develop a fever. All of these different things happen just so we can get milk and cheese and dairy and all these other products. Meanwhile, this cow just gave birth, right? So if you think about it in a human context, you just gave birth and you're taking the baby away just so that you can get the milk. And they do that until those cows can't get pregnant anymore or don't produce milk anymore. And then they kill them for burgers and whatnot.
Right.
And then with the egg industry, so you have chickens that are laying eggs. And of course, I mean, even when I went to most other countries that I go to, people only eat one egg. So like when I lived in Ecuador, people eat one egg. Like even if you're an adult here, everywhere you go, you're eating 2 or 3 eggs. Chickens don't naturally produce eggs that rapidly. So there's a lot of hormones involved in it to get the chicken to produce the egg, because essentially like scrambled eggs, that's a chicken's period. It's an unfertilized ovulation cycle. I'm just letting you know what it is. And so they
keep it real.
They give the chicken all of those hormones and stuff like that, so the chickens can produce eggs on a cycle. They take the eggs away, and then the same thing happens when they're unable, which are hens, when they're unable to do that, then they kill the chicken and it ends up in your 10-piece lemon pepper fried hard. You know what I mean? And then and also for the chickens, just in case like a rooster, which is a male chicken, gets in there and some of the chickens get pregnant. However, when they do produce and it ends up being a baby chicken that's actually a boy, they throw it in a grinder, almost like a blender, kind of like a food processor, but it's a grinder. They take the baby chicks that are boys and they throw them into a grinder because they'll never grow to develop eggs. So there's no use for that chicken at the farm. So they throw them into these grinders and it mashes up it will also take too long for that chicken without hormones to get big enough to where we can eat it. So they just throw it in the grinder. And then with bees, it's kind of the same thing. They feed bees all this sugar water the process of making honey is a natural process. You have a bee, it flies, gets the pollen, flower, all of that. I don't know all the logistics of that. And then they go and they make honey, right? But because we need honey so fast, all those honeys and stuff that you buy at Walmart that's not like local, fresh, honey, they're feeding these bees sugar instead of the actual sugar they would get from the pollen of the flower to create honey on a faster cycle. The demand, it's capitalism. And so they do that same process that they did with the chicken. So they're wanting to get more female bees. They want a queen bee that's going to make the honey, because all of the worker bees just bring her pollen, right? And so the same thing, they take the male bees and they, once they're done, they crush their pelvises and kill them once they're done, like reproducing, which I think we tend to think of it as being a less cruel element because bees are insects, right? And we kill roaches, we kill mosquitoes, you know what I mean? We kill wasps, we kill little insects that we're afraid of, but it's still an element of cruelty to it. And by the way, I just want to say I'm not a vegan for the cruelty element. I'm really vegan because I care about my health and Black people's health, but that's all the cruelty element of it.
Right. Now, you say you're vegan not for the cruelty, but for the health and for Black people's health. Expound on that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. So I used to be a lot bigger. I used to be 300 pounds. And so I lost 100 pounds just getting healthy. So I didn't start out 100% vegan. I just got rid of like beef and pork, kind of all of the things that people do normally to lose weight. I got a trainer. I started working out. And my trainer actually, he did a vegan challenge for 90 days. And so I was like, well, if he can do it for 90 days, I can do it for 30 days. And I didn't want to do it by myself. So I put it on Facebook and I was like, hey guys, do y'all want to do this vegan challenge with me? Let's he was doing it in January. So I was like, let's do it in January and everything. And so people were like, yeah. So I made like a little Facebook group and people were like, yeah, we want to join. And so, I kind of became the leader of the group unknowingly. So I was in there making recipes for people because I always loved to cook, even when I wasn't vegan, and showing different products. And because I'm a foodie, And so people were learning a lot. And so I would do that every year. And then when the challenge was over, I would eat like seafood and stuff. And then as the year would go on, I get back to chicken, get back to beef, get back to whatever, eating pork chops on the side of the road, all of that good stuff. And by the end of the year, like, I think it was like November or December, somebody was like, hey, are we going to do that challenge again? We're going to do that vegan challenge again. And I was like, well, yeah, if y'all want to do it again, let's do it again. And, it started to be like that every year, so that by the time it came around again, it was like, I needed it as much as they did. I had put back on weight. My joints were hurting. I wasn't able to work out as well. I was getting sick. So I needed it just like they needed it. And then 2 years ago, I just decided that I didn't want to be sick anymore. I didn't want to gain more weight. I didn't want my workouts and stuff to be hard. So I was like, I'm just gonna stick with this. And that's really how it happened. And then every time, so I wasn't like a straight consistent vegan all the time, but then any time that I went off of it, I would get sick. So the last thing that I had was December 2018. I had chicken. I was with my cousin. We were drinking. Ironically, the same cousin's house that I'm at right now. We were drinking and she had made some chicken and she was like, can you put these wings up for me? Because, she was too drunk. And I said, she said, put the wings up and clean up the kitchen for me. I said, okay, no problem. I went in the kitchen. It was me and the wings. It was the wings and me. I was looking at the wings. The wings was looking at me. And I was like, well, it's not going to hurt if I just have, 1 or 2 wings. And so I had 7. And I got really, really, really sick, like hangover sick. Like when when you want to throw, like you're so drunk you want to throw up, but you can't, and you just have to be left with that feeling of nausea. That's how I felt for like 36 hours, and it just wasn't worth it for me anymore.
Yeah, but was it the chicken or was it the liquor?
No, it was the chicken. I wasn't drunk. She was drunk.
Gotcha.
I got 2 college degrees. I have a very good liquor tolerance.
Oh, so there's a correlation between liquor tolerance and college degrees?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that. I just learned something new today. But when you talk about Black people in veganism, right, you said that's part of the reason why you became vegan.
Mm-hmm.
What particularly about that drives you to promote veganism as it relates to the Black community?
Because I just feel like there's so many health issues that can be easily resolved and easily eliminated with veganism. I know for myself, for example, I'll just use the example of dairy, and I use that example for 2 reasons. One, because people hate to give up cheese. Every year when I'm like recruiting people for the vegan challenge, I start usually after Thanksgiving because people are feeling full and they're thinking about their New Year's resolution or whatever. I start recruiting people. So the whole month of December, I do a huge campaign like, hey, let's do it. It's only 21 days. You can do it, whatever. I would say, and I'm just throwing out a random number because it will seem like I'm more official. I'm doing the math in my head. But I would say at least 90 to 95% of the people that I recruit for the vegan challenge who have never been vegan or don't have any experience with veganism always say, I'll give up meat, but I'm not giving up cheese. It's always cheese, always cheese. So that's one reason. And then 2, dairy affects Black people in different ways, right? So the first way that it affects people is a lot of people get the BGs, right? So we know a lot of Black people that's like, I can't do it. I'm gonna get the bubble guts. That's one thing. So bubble guts, for those of you who don't know, is running back and forth to the bathroom, right? So then the other thing is you have some people who they eat dairies like cheese, and then they have the adverse effect. They can't go to the bathroom because they've had a lot of milk or because they've had a lot of dairy, right? I know people who get acne when they eat dairy. I know people who have eczema and their eczema flares up when they eat it. For myself, I get super congested. So I don't eat dairy because whenever I do, it makes me feel like I'm getting a cold. So my nose will get stopped up. I feel like congested in my chest. My eyes will start watering. I have another friend, he's vegan. Anytime he has something that has dairy in it, he gets a really bad headache. So like a sinus headache here. And so it's affecting all of these people. We know scientific research tells us that 93% of Black people are lactose intolerant with all these different effects, right? It's not a mainstream part of our diet from when we left Africa. We aren't big cheese eaters. We aren't big milk eaters. And then also I think the thing to understand as well is even in those spaces, like when we lived in Africa and we did eat meat and we did eat animals and stuff. When you have a chicken that you raise for slaughter is very different from what happens now when you go to the grocery store and get chicken. The factory farming, the conditions that the animals live in, all of the hormones that are being pumped into it. And we can see it with, our young girls who are developing early. Girls are getting their cycles younger and younger. They're developing breast and everything like that a lot younger and younger, because of all of the hormones that is in this stuff. It's making our bodies grow, because you have to think with the milk, like let's say if you eat cheese or you drink cow's milk, that is to raise a baby cow into an adult cow. So that is to take a baby. Most cows, when they're born, they're usually between 90 to 120 pounds. And that is to get that calf from being that size up to 1,200 pounds, which is the usual about ideal weight, between 8 and 1,200 pounds, depending on if it's a male or a female, as an adult. We ain't really supposed to be more than 150, 200, 220, depending on your height, if you lift weights and all of that. There's really no reason for any person, even if you're like, I don't know, 6'7", there's really no reason for you to be more than 220, maybe 250 if you're lifting weights and doing all of that stuff.
There's no like fat shame me.
I fat shame myself because I'm on the two side. I'm on the two side, and I'm only 5'2", but I'm growing because I still eat my vegetables.
I know that's right. So you've taken all this advocacy for yourself, for the Black community, and you've made it into a business. Right?
Yes, accidentally turned. Well, not accidentally, because I don't believe in accidents. Divinely intervention and divinely inspired business. Yes.
Okay, and so what was it that made you say, I'm going to make this into a business?
It happened really bit by bit, honestly. So it started with the vegan challenge. So we would do it every year, whatever. But when I did it every year, I would do a live cooking video every week. So it's 3 weeks long. So every week that you came in, you get a live cooking video. You got a live Q&A to prepare people for whatever they were experiencing. I would be going live in the grocery store, answering people's questions. Whenever I found good recipes, like, little Pinterest recipes and stuff, I would post it in the group. All of these different things. So all of these things. And at this time I had a full-time job. It requires time. It requires resources, right? So 3 years ago, I said, I need to do something to monetize the vegan challenge. I never really wanted to get paid per se for it because it's really just my passion. But I was like, I need to monetize it because I'm running around here trying to buy this and that from Whole Foods just to taste it for you guys, and ain't nobody paying me. This is before the era of Cash App, right? So I wrote 21 Fresh, which is my cookbook, because I needed a way to monetize it. I just couldn't let it be free anymore, but I didn't want to charge people for the challenge. I didn't, even when I was thinking about, well, maybe I just charge people for $1. I didn't ever want that around the challenge, because I feel like knowledge is for the people. So I went ahead and created my cookbook 21 Fresh. And from that, like doing those recipes and doing the lives and stuff, like when I would invite people over, and also when I lived in South Florida, I used to do an end of the vegan challenge potluck. And so I would make all of these things that people didn't think they could have. I would make like barbecue chicken and fried chicken and macaroni cheese and collard greens and cornbread. And it would be like a look,
and steak.
No, the steak didn't even come into play yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so I would make these dinners. I spent all this money and I would invite people over. Hey, if you participated in the challenge, we're going to have a potluck. If you want to bring some, if people didn't know what to bring, I'd be like, hey, bring forks, bring knives, we need Simply Lemonade. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just bring something, bring yourself, bring a good attitude. So I needed, and a lot of people would come and they would be like, oh, this is so good. Like, I would pay for this. And I was like, really? How much? And that's really how it got started. That was just people tasting my food, like my family, and saying like, this is really good. Like, I would pay for this. Or if I had this on a consistent basis, it'd be no problem for me to go vegan, or I wouldn't even think about it. And I was like, really? And that's really how Vegan Trappin was born, was people just saying like, this is good enough to pay for.
And then so once you figured that out, you incorporated, your lives and everything else. And then you started doing, was it pop-ups, or what was the next step after that once you decided to do it for real, for real?
The next step was Vegan Trappin. So Vegan Trappin started, which is basically I used to go to these different cities and I would stay with people who lived in those cities. So let's say if I went to Miami, I'm from Miami, I would go and stay at my mom's house. I would cook food. I put up a post, like a flyer on Facebook or Instagram, and say, hey, I'm selling plates today, just on some old black lady after church type vibes. I'm selling plates today. This is what I got, y'all want to buy it. And and thank God for Instagram, thank God for the age of the internet. That was something else I used to do. A marketing strategy is I would sell the plate for whatever price and I would give you $1 off if you posted it to Instagram. Or when I was in a smaller city like Tallahassee is really, if you think about Atlanta, and it's like a third of the size of Atlanta if you think about the 285 circle. So none of my deliveries would take me more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And that's the farthest point out in Tallahassee. So I would give people free delivery. Like, hey, if you post this to your Instagram, I'll give you free delivery. I'll give you $1 off. And then when I noticed Insta stories were more prevalent, like people see Insta stories more than they see people's hard pages just because of the algorithm and all of that stuff.
Right.
So I would say, hey, if you post it to your Insta stories, I'll give you $1 off. And I had great success with that. I did pop-ups here at Spelman College, and they're students, they're young and all that. So I'll be like, hey, this is the deal. My tacos are 1 for $4 and 3 for $11. But if you post me to your Insta stories, I give you $1. You post it right in that moment. You can post me, you can post the meal, whatever. I'll give you $1 off. And so my following kind of built with that too, because students are all into, the internet and Instagram and, posting what they have. And so then it'll be people like, well, what is this? And this is vegan. And, it just really, I don't want to say blew people's mind, but it made people reconsider about what they could eat, what they could have while being vegan,
But let me ask you this question. What made you do that? What made you give $1 off if somebody posted to their gram, or to that, whatever it was, to post to their Instagram stories? What made you do that?
So 2 things. One, I needed the exposure. I was in a space where I know they have like Facebook ads and stuff like this, but in my mind, I was in a mindset of lack. So I was like, well, I can't afford Facebook marketing. I can't afford to do, an Instagram promotion. I can't afford to pay an influencer to get the word out for me. But what I can do is I can give these people a discount. And so that was kind of my rationale for A, paid marketing, and B, I just paid my people instead of paying Mark Zuckerberg or, I think he does own, I know he owns Facebook and I think Instagram and he owns the whole world. But like, instead of giving him this $1, I basically am paying my people for advertisement.
I like that. So that wasn't inspired. That was just divine inspiration through you.
Yeah, it was that. And also too, when I would do the taco sales at Spelman, they were, like I said, 1 for $4 and 3 for $11. So you're saving $1 by buying 3. And then if you post it, it's 3 tacos for $10. And people just like round numbers. They like numbers that are easy.
Right. That's pretty dope. I might have to try to incorporate that into some of my business.
Oh, Wayne says smart marketing. Thanks. I think it would be the same thing if I did anything else. I've always had a hustler spirit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm listening, like for real. I'm a hustler to the core of me. I think it's just that Dade County, straight out the bottom, that hood. Like, if you could think about it, I could sell it. I'm trying to finesse it. I'm trying to make a way out of no way.
I feel that. And then the other thing too, though, because today, y'all, she being a little prim and proper, right? Normally, she's a little bit more turned up.
I didn't know if I could cuss. I didn't know if your church people was on here. So, I'm pretending to be the best Christian I could be.
Listen, we're just having a conversation, and I always want you to be you. Nobody likes, the fake version of you. Always the real, true, authentic version of you is always what comes to people. So be you, boo. you?
I was like sweating a little bit. I'm trying not to curse so bad. My armpits is sweating, my palms is shaking and clammy. I'm like, woo.
No. Because one of the things about Sunny is she does lives all the time. I know she says she does them on Tuesdays, but she'll pop up and do one on Thursday and Friday too. And she'll be talking about any and everything.
Oh
and
my God. Here you go.
Those jokes.
Here you go.
And she tells jokes as well. So, one of her jokes for me is, I don't even know if I should say it. Some of the church people might get mad at me.
Tax Black Jesus.
She calls me Tax Black Jesus. And I'm not Jesus, y'all, but I think it's hilarious.
Nobody goes to the IRS but through him.
That's hilarious. But when she does it on her live, she does it so naturally and so fluid. But you used to do stand-up too, right? I remember you said you used to perform somewhere.
No, I used to do spoken word poetry.
Okay.
I did stand up twice, and it was like, how they have like an open mic? It was like an open mic, but for comedy. So right. I did like a 5-minute set, and I didn't get booed, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, but you were a performer, so you do add a performance element to your marketing and promotion as well. And I don't think you're a pretend performer, right? It's just a part of you. Because when I talk to your brother, shout out to Trey Snatch, he said she always been like this.
Shout out to Trey Snatch. Hey, that's my guy. I mean, not just because we came out the same coochie. I really like him as a person.
So, he said that's always been you. So how do you incorporate who you truly are? Like when you think about it, right? Who you truly are when you think about your business, because you said you're a true hustler. So share with the audience a little bit more about that.
I'm not sure that I understand the question. Can you explain it again? So, I have a Florida public education, so you have to go slow with me.
But you just said you got 2 degrees. Don't try me.
I do have 2 degrees that I cheated for. I cheated for both of them.
That means you're smart.
That means I'm dedicated and I'm an exceptional cheater. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's what my brother always says.
Hey, listen, that's the American way though. But
all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Donald Trump cheated and got a whole country. Think about what you can get if you put your mind to it.
Yeah, well, he didn't put his mind to anything. Let's not go down that route. Let's not go down that route because he didn't put his mind to anything. But when you think about business, right, going forward, what are some of the thoughts you have about business?
Expansion. Honestly, I want everybody to be able to experience what I have given people in the different cities that I've been in, because I haven't been to I had some, as far as my vegan trapping goes, I had some new cities that I wanted to go to this year. Houston, I was supposed to go to LA. I was supposed to go to where else? Houston, LA, Dallas, Chicago this year. So my goals and my thought process is really just expanding. Hey Aisha, what's up, Pooh? So my business idea is I want everyone to experience that. So I want to be in grocery stores. When you think about now with veganism, you think about Beyond Meat, or you think about Impossible. Like they just did this huge campaign with Burger King so that people could have, the good vegans could have something to eat while they're on their road trip. I want Sunni Speaks, Smack and Steak to be in that conversation. When you go to the Cheesecake Factory, you have the Impossible Burger as an option. When you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you have Beyond Meat sausage as an option. I want my products to be in that conversation. So it's like, oh, I have options, whether it's at a full vegan restaurant or at a national chain, you have the option to have something vegan and have something that's good, because the surge that we're seeing right now is that, hey, vegans are like, we ain't gonna take this no more, bitch. We want to eat good too. You know what I'm saying? We're tired of trying to make a meal out of the sides, asking if the broccoli has butter. We want a baked potato with nothing on it. While y'all's been at Fridays living y'all best life, you know what I mean, with the wings and stuff. So because of that, and people are having this conversation like, hey, we're not going to take it anymore. I want those good options to be there. And I think that's a part of why Black people feel like I can't be vegan, or I don't want to be vegan because I don't want to give up these things. That's how I got into making, I don't want to say strictly, but mainly soul food, is because, you know, there's so many people that I know that was like, I'm not about to, you know, give up collard greens. I'm not about to give up mac and cheese. I'm not about to give up this other thing. If I got to give up my culture, if I got to give up my tradition, because you got to remember, for all people, but specifically for Black people, so much of food is related to culture, right? It's related to tradition. So the earliest memories I have of, let's say, string beans, for example, my memories of string beans is my mom waking me up Thanksgiving morning or the night before. You got to snap the string beans. You know what I mean? My earliest memories of collard greens is my mom saying, this is how you do it. You need to put it in the water. We got to buy it from the man on the side of the road. You know what I mean? We never went to like Walmart or a big store. We always bought our Thanksgiving collard greens off the side of the road. You know what I mean? So all of that is like tradition, it's culture, it's memories. And so if Black people feel like we have to give this up, it's really giving up a part of our heritage, a part of our culture, a part of who we are. So I just try to make it easier for them to not have to feel like that.
No, I get that. I totally get that. I totally agree. Because people still love their chitterlings, them chitlins, and they don't want.
I was never a fan.
Yeah, I was never a fan either. No offense to anybody that loves chitlins, but my dad maybe eating once was probably the most traumatic experience I've ever had, and they taste just like they smell. I won't
Do
get
they?
to me.
Because that was the real reason I never ate. Well, my parents were 7-day Adventists, so I didn't grow up eating pork at all, honestly. But when I would go to my cousin's house and stuff, and my aunt would be cooking chitlins, we couldn't even stay in the house. We had to go outside and play because the smell would be so bad. And I was just like, like anything that smells this way should not go in your mouth. But you know, people eat ass, so.
Hey, you had a whole show about that.
I had a tipsy live. I had a little tipsy live. Oh, somebody asked, do you have a YouTube channel? I do have a YouTube channel. So it's Sunni Speaks across the board. So my YouTube channel is Sunni Speaks, and all of those videos are my live cooking videos, and I've just uploaded them to YouTube so that you can watch them at your leisure, and hopefully at some point I can get paid for it.
Okay, so what we'll do also is when we're done this, I'll share this with you as well. You can put it on your channel.
Okay.
Yep.
Ooh, famous.
So listen, we share and share like it's all family up here. So remember, everybody, go follow Sunni Speaks on IG, Sunni Speaks on YouTube. Are you on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, but I'm not active on Twitter like that. I'm just being honest because, you know, I know people's follows is important to them. So, you know, if you, I'm not even gonna lie, I wouldn't recommend you follow me on Twitter because I don't do nothing on there. Like, I'll share a food flyer every once in a while. A lot of my audience is not on Twitter, so I really just go on there and like share funny memes, talk about Donald Trump, you know, shit like that. So that's a thing. You don't want to waste your time with Twitter. Listen, snap, man. Other 7-day Adventists in the house. Ow, no partying on Friday. Gang, keep that ass in the house on Friday night. You know what it is. No TV.
So now y'all get to see what I was talking about. This is what I get when I talk to Sunni all the time. And yes, she is very, very hilarious.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just be being myself. Yeah, I would say the best thing to follow me on is going to be on Instagram, because Instagram, you're going to get the funny comments, you're going to get the videos, you're going to get the recipes. You'll be able to ask me questions. For the most part, I would say at least 80% of the time, I respond to my DMs directly. So if you see a comment or, you know, and you comment or something and there's a response to it, 80 to 90% of the time, that person is me. I don't have like a whole huge big team.
You muted yourself, Sunni. You went out. You must have, your plug must have came out. I can see you, but I can't hear you. Yeah. There you go.
What about now?
Nope, you're fine. I can hear you. So as Edith says, we're sinning for being on this live. Lord, forgive us. Is that really a sin? Oh, because today is the Sabbath.
Because today is the Sabbath.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, technically not, because Kamari, as far as I know, isn't getting paid for this live, and I'm not getting paid for this live. So it's actually not work, because you can't do any work on Saturday. This is not work. Even though I am going to make several pans of mac and cheese when I get off this live.
But, and I mean, technically it is work, right? It's both a part of our brands. So it's work, it's business.
Oh, you're not going to have Jesus mad at me, sir.
Well, listen, when I talk about Jesus, we got to say it right. Black Jesus, right?
Black Jesus.
Black Jesus, right? Let's be clear. And I don't think Black Jesus will be mad at you for talking about the gospel of clean eating. So all of Black Jesus's children can live better and live longer, right? So I'm not a vegan. I'm very interested in it. My daughter has become a vegetarian. And it's very interesting because my wife now will make vegetarian dishes and regular carnivore dishes for us meat eaters. And I think that's a whole lot of work. But she started at 13. She's now 15. So
it's really not a lot of work, and that's the reason why I do the lives and stuff, because I want to show people. I think that's the two biggest misconceptions about veganism, is that it's super expensive and that it's very time consuming to make. And now, I mean, my mom has been pescatarian since I was 13. So I really got introduced to vegan products and stuff from a younger age, like the Morning Star, the Boca Burgers. Anybody, Edith in here, she was raised Seventh-day Adventist, because Seventh-day Adventists actually don't allow you to eat meat in the church. So they've been eating vegetarian products for a long time. So I got introduced to all of that stuff from a young age, even though I rebelled against it. Because, usually when a Black woman goes on a diet, the entire house is on a diet. And my mom never made it like that for us. We were still able to eat other stuff. And my dad would just cook like whatever he was making, and then he would make fish for my mom, or he'd make a burger, a veggie burger or something like that for my mom. But it's not, especially now, because there's so many substitutes. Whether you're talking about, ground beef, or, your chicken, or your sausage, or your breakfast bacon. Like, there's so many vegan options that you're not having that time consuming process. Now, there are people who still go out and say, hey, I want to make my own sausage. Hey, I want to make my own, burger from lentils and, unicorn hair and whatever else, par-ass vegan ingredients that, these white folks.
What's par-ass?
Par-ass is like, okay, so like white vegan. No, I just made that up actually 15 seconds ago. Yeah, like white vegans will come on their YouTube and they'll be like, hey guys, welcome to my channel. We're going to make this super quick, super vegan recipe. It's only 5 ingredients. You just need, to go to Narnia. You just need to get some unicorn hair. You just need a little toe crust from Bigfoot. And you just need to cook it in the Quidditch robe that Harry Potter wore in the 3rd book, not the 2nd book, in the 3rd book. And you need a little bit of Pluto dust from Mars. And it's so simple. We'll be done in 5 minutes. And then 5 hours later, we'll be done in 5 minutes. And I just be looking like I used to watch all these videos, because to do the challenge, I used to have to watch all of these videos. It was research and development to try and get these recipes and see how I could make them and put more seasoning. And I'd be watching these videos like, I'd be like, where the fuck am I going to get this from? Like, I don't even know what this is. Like, I'd have to be going, I forgot. There was like one ingredient that this tofu skin. She was like, I said, bitch, who is out here skinning tofus? Like, where do we get tofu skin from? You know what I mean? Like, and so people really, they see that kind of stuff on YouTube because, of course, whether we like to admit it or not, Black people, we're still considered a subculture. So when you go to, let's say, Google and you type vegan recipes, or you go onto YouTube and you type vegan recipes, the first 5 to 7 videos that come up are going to be white people, and they're going to be talking about some stuff that you don't even know. They the reason why tofu got a bad rap, that we don't even know about. And it's like, where the hell am I supposed to get this from? I don't know what this is. I never heard of this thing, and it don't even be like a fruit or a vegetable. It just be like some other shit, and you're like where am I supposed to get this from? You know what I mean? So I think that's so important, and that's why it's really integral to my brand to just make it relatable, make it easy. I never withhold knowledge. If I'm using something and somebody asks me, I'm like, hey, this is where I got it from. If you in Atlanta, I got it from this particular location on this street, like, because a lot of them, it seems so far away, almost like millionaire status. Like, it's so far over there. They're doing this thing. I don't even know. I can't even imagine what that is. And I really want to dispel that rumor. Like, it's not hard. It's not time consuming, especially because we have all the, like, the vegan cheeses and stuff. We have that before, vegans had to make their own cheese out of cashews or whatever else. But now we just go to the store and pick it up. That's it.
Right. Now, I heard you mention earlier that you lived in Ecuador.
Yes.
Did you live anywhere else overseas?
No, I didn't live anywhere else overseas, but I've been to 8 countries. I got 7 stamps. It's a long story.
Oh,
Colombia.
Okay.
Colombia.
We're not going to Colombia. Don't do that to me.
Listen, they threw me over the border. Jazzy J. You know how Uncle Phil used to throw Jazzy J? They threw me across the border. They was like, Ecuador, come get your shit. That's why I don't have. I've actually been to Colombia 3 times and I don't have a stamp. It's a long story. That's not what we're talking about today.
I thought you was going somewhere else for Colombia.
No.
But listen, I got a question for you. So, what has the experience of living in Ecuador given to your business or influenced your business?
Well, I think recipe wise, of course, there's more cultural recipes and things like that. But I also think about produce differently. So because I lived in Ecuador, I had access to a completely different variation of produce than I have here in the States, just because of climate, just because of the region of the world that I live in, just because of culturally and customly what's accessible, and also the way that I thought about it, the way that I think about recipes and the way that I think about things, the way that things can be used. That gave a lot to it. And I love to travel. So I think that's it for sure. And the produce is really, really cheap. Like when I was in Ecuador and I wasn't eating meat, just me by myself, I could eat for $10 a week, because you get 3 avocados for $1, you get 14 limes for $1, you get 12 oranges for $1, you get fresh mint and fresh chamomile bunches for 25 cents. A pound of rice is $1, a pound of lentils is $1. Like, it was really easy for me to try a lot of different fruits and vegetables, and even things that are super common there. There's a fruit, actually, it's called granadilla. I wish I could write in the comments so people could see it. But that's my favorite fruit from Ecuador. Here, I've never been able to find it. Most people don't know what it is. It's similar to a passion fruit, but it's much sweeter. And that's like my favorite part of going to Ecuador. But I always tell people when I do interviews and stuff, or when I'm doing speaking engagements, like, the main thing when I talk to people about veganism, especially Black people, is like, well, if I go vegan, what am I going to eat? And I say, whatever grocery store you shop at. What's your grocery store, Kamari? Because you live in Philly. I've never been to Philly before. What's your grocery store?
Between Giant and Whole Foods.
Giant and Whole. Well, you got money because you be regular shopping at Whole Foods. But we're going to say Giant, right? So if you walk into Giant right now in the produce section, more than likely, I'm willing to bet, I don't have much money, but I'm going to bet you $10 that you have not tried all of the variations of apples that they have. Just apples. Just apples.
I've had a lot. My youngest son is a big apple eater. So I've had a lot, but no.
I'll cash up you the $10 then.
No, but I would agree with you. I'm sure I haven't had every variety. And it's funny that now veganism and plant-based eating has become more mainstream. I'm seeing more fruits that I've never heard of. Like, what is it, jackfruit? Mm-hmm. Never heard of that before. And then there's several others that I've never heard before, and supposedly have very good healing properties, like most fruits. But again, I've never heard of them before.
Yeah, well, I think the thing about it is it's not only that you're seeing it and you never heard about it, but it's people are eating it in a different way, right? So jackfruit is traditionally eaten ripe. It's a fruit, so people eat it sweet. But now people are saying like, oh, you can use jackfruit to make pulled pork, to do, a shredded kind of meat, or like tacos, carnitas and stuff like that. But you're eating it while it's young. It's not yet ripe. Yeah. So you're eating it in a way that you never thought about. And that's kind of what I was saying about like living in Ecuador or experiencing different cultures. And that's a tip that I'll share with your followers as well, is that if you're thinking about going vegan or you just want to do one meal a day, is to eat cultural, right? Because American diets are very meat centered, right? We're meat and potatoes culture. The chicken, the steak, the lamb, the shrimp is the star of the show. It's the main course. It's the coup de grace, if you will. But with other cultures, so if you think about like Thai or Indian or Ethiopian, like those are my top places, or even Asian restaurants. So whenever people come into town and they might not be vegan, I say, hey, let's go to an Ethiopian spot because I know I can get a really good meal there, or let's go to an Indian spot or a Thai spot because I can get a really good meal there, and you can eat meat if you want to. So let's look at cilantro, for example. That's a great example. I remember I was eating this thing called laksa. It's a pumpkin soup that's made with rice noodles. It's a weird amalgamation of things, but it has cilantro in it. And I remember this was like 2014, right? So I was still wet behind the ears. I hadn't even traveled. I hadn't even lived in Ecuador yet. So I remember the only thing that I knew cilantro was good for was for tacos. So for me, in my mind, cilantro is Mexican. So when I was eating the laksa, I was like, well, how do these niggas get cilantro? What they doing over here? But they're using cilantro in a very different way in this soup dish, right? Then I would eat like Thai food, coconut curry. In the curry, they put cilantro in it too. And in my mind, man, how these niggas got it over there? Like, what? Why are they doing something different like that? Cilantro is used very differently around the world, right? But we don't know that because we're not exploring outside of what just the American palate eats. If you look at cinnamon, for example, for Black Southerners, cinnamon is what? It's sweet. It goes in apple pie. It goes in sweet potato pie. We don't use it in savory dishes. But when you go into the Middle East and the Mediterranean region, cinnamon goes in rice. Raisin goes in rice and in couscous. And we just haven't eaten it like that, right?
So do you put raisin in your potato salad?
Oh, come on now. I'm still Black. That's what I tell my followers all the time. We still Black. We just went vegan. No, I don't put
Hey,
no.
listen, you brought it up. I had to follow that up.
No. Oh,
So,
someone
okay.
just said my son and I noticed the different fruits in Giant the other day. He bought a different type of grapes and it tasted like grapes, but they were long shaped, and all of a sudden they have these different fruits. Actually, a lot of people think it's not all of a sudden. You just weren't looking for it. So that's the same thing I tell with people when they're starting to go vegan. They're like, wait, they have vegan this and vegan that. And yeah, these things have been around for a long time. You're just not looking for it. It's like finding circles when you're looking for squares.
But I'll say this: a lot of that stuff is GMO. I swear to God, my wife brought these cotton candy grapes. They're absolutely delicious.
Oh, for sure.
But I'm like, this has got to be GMO.
Absolutely.
I said, this has got to be GMO.
Absolutely. Yeah. I saw, I mean, all of the watermelons without seeds. And I remember eating grapes one day. Because, you know, a lot of people look for seeded grapes, like purple grapes. And I was talking to my mom, and my mom was like, yeah, when I was a kid, green grapes had seeds too. And I was like, what? You know, I'm 33, but I had never in my life eaten green grapes that had seeds in them. I had only had purple grapes that had seeds. And I remember like not liking it because I was like, oh, this is extra work. Like I got to spit the seed out or whatever. It's messing up my grape experience. Yep. But I didn't know green grapes had seeds. And my mom was like, oh yeah, they used to have seeds. I'm like,
absolutely. Miss Edith is over here and she's been hanging out with me too long. She knows I'm being sarcastic. So I want to ask you this question. You kind of touched on it before.
Okay.
But you're saying that being a vegan or a vegetarian is not really super expensive, but everybody says it's expensive, right? So from an Americanized standpoint, how would you approach that?
So it depends on what you're buying. Are there vegan products that are expensive? Yes. And so we also have to look at the difference between vegan and being plant-based. So plant-based is you're eating directly from the earth. So those are the nuts and berries niggas. They only eat broccoli, they only eat rice, chickpeas, all of that stuff. All of those things are produce, they are cheap, right? When you look at making a vegan substitute, so like with your vegan meat, right? So let's just say you're trying to make tacos, right? So you need to get a vegan meat substitute. If you weren't buying a vegan meat substitute and your substitute was black beans, it would be way cheaper. If your substitute was chickpeas or sweet potato, it would be way cheaper. Hey, Natalia. I have to shout Natalia out real quick because Natalia bought my deep freezer for me to help me expand my business. And I just want to tangentially say, whenever
is she a friend or like new friend?
Yes, she's a friend. I went to her wedding.
That's dope. Shout out.
Yeah, so I just wanted to shout her out real quick because whenever I succeed or get to the next level, like I always let people know it's not me, it's a community win. Like there's so many people that have helped me get to where I'm at right now. It's not just me. And I mean, yes, I did answer God's call. I do a lot of hard work, but I get a lot of help, a lot of favors, a lot of people who just, hey, I want to see you win. You need this, go get it. Manifest that. Like a lot of people help me. But so back to what you were saying about it being expensive. So I'll give you an example. Beyond Meat sausage. We know Beyond Meat, is a publicly traded company. They have great stock. Their sausages in Whole Foods are $8.99. This is expensive, right? So we're going to look at a couple of things. One, you're shopping in Whole Foods. You came to spend money anyway. So let's not play these games. Number two, if you were not vegan and you went and got any other pork sausage, this is organic, it's grass fed, they massage the pig before they kill it sausage, you would be paying the exact same price. So I really encourage people to think about the mindset of quality. Also, Beyond Meat is soy free, it's nut free, it's coconut free, it's wheat free. These are the top allergens that people have. So it's doing all of these things, meeting all of these demands, and it's in Whole Foods and it's in high-end stores. It's going to cost you. If you're trying to eat a quality diet, it is going to cost you a little bit more. But, as I said, you don't have to eat Beyond Meat sausage. I can give you the recipe. You can make it yourself at home. But are you going to do that? Do you have the time to do that after you went to work all day? Which I know a lot of us are working from home. But after you've done work all day, after you've been rearing kids and helping with homework, and now everybody's a homeschool teacher, are you going to make your own sausage, or are you going to shell out the $9 for this? It's always going to be a conversation of time versus money. And I really want to say that too, because people be treating vegetables like ugly baby mamas. And if you continue to do that, like they're just good, they're going to act accordingly. People will get, let's say, a chicken breast or chicken thigh, and y'all put lemon juice on it and salt and pepper and onion powder and garlic powder and sazon and all of your seasonings on it. You let it sit overnight, and then you come and cook it, you know what I'm saying, the next day. And it's delicious, but then you get broccoli from Bird's Eye, you put it in the microwave, slap it on your plate, and be like, I don't like vegetables. Of course you don't like vegetables because you're treating them bad. I get my broccoli and I sprinkle jerk seasoning on it, and I saute it in the pan, and I have jerk broccoli. Or, when I'm making Brussels sprouts, I'll get the jerk paste and I'll mix it with brown sugar and put it on the Brussels sprouts and broil it. Like, I'm enjoying that. But if you keep doing that with vegetables, then you're always going to be like, I don't like vegetables. Eating vegan is boring. Eating vegan doesn't have any flavor because y'all not using the seasonings.
Well, a lot of people, first of all, shout out to all the ugly baby mamas. They need love. Secondly, a lot of people don't have that same level of creativity, though, when it comes to life, let alone food. So I think it's good. You need people like that, right? And we all we're social. People are social, right? We vibe off of one another. That's why Pinterest works so well, because you can go and see what somebody else has done and maybe generate your own ideas or just use that idea. But I don't know if people are really, the majority of people, right, are really putting that much creative juice into cooking.
I don't think that you have to, though. It's what we're all raised with. So same thing with like.
Listen, I would have never thought to put jerk seasoning on broccoli.
It tastes good on chicken, don't it? Why wouldn't it taste good on broccoli?
But again, we've been programmed. to think that way. So you got to break the programming. So I mean,
I mean, I'm working on that. I'm just saying, like, if you, let's say, with a piece of meat, let's say a pork loin or a big piece of beef, you season it, you stick the garlic cloves in it, you put all this stuff in it, you put it in the crock pot, and you like, oh, I'm gonna go about my business. We'll go mind my business in the corner for about 6-7 hours. When I come back, this meat gonna be on point. It's gonna be the seasoning done soaking it. It would be the same thing if you did that with beans. If you took beans and put them in the crock pot, put all that seasoning, all that love, all that energy, because we be like, we be checking it. We be like, okay, I want to stir it, but I don't want to mess with it too much. You know what I'm saying? You be like, I'm gonna go do this. I'm coming back for you. I'm coming back for you, boo. I'm gonna make my plate. Like, if you do the same thing with vegetables, you're gonna have the same result. Just like I tell people, okay, let's say spaghetti, right? If you get you some ragu and you throw that shit in a pot with oregano and salt and a whole bunch of ground beef, I'm sure you've had bad spaghetti. I think we've all had like bad after church spaghetti. You at your best friend's house, his mama don't know how to cook. You know what I mean? And you toss in ground beef. It's gonna taste like beef and spaghetti sauce. But like, when I make spaghetti, I'm using the crumbles because you're missing the texture, right? So I'm using the fake crumbles or whatever you want to use, lentils or whatever. And I'm chopping up onions, garlic, and pepper. We're Black, so we know everything needs to start with that trifecta: onions, peppers, and garlic. And I'm sauteing it. And then I put in thyme, and I put in oregano and basil and sage and fennel and all of these things. And you know what I mean? I put all of that in there. I put a little bit of sugar. I don't know if you from Philly, so I don't know if you put sugar in your spaghetti sauce or not. But if you don't, you can just go ahead and boot me off the live, Huh?
I do.
Okay, you put a little bit of sugar in it and you make it just like when your mom really has time, not when she's just throwing it together on a Friday night. You really gonna be like, oh, okay, this is really good, even with a simple dish like spaghetti. My brother and all of my family always joke and say, I'll say like, oh, I'm just gonna throw some spaghetti together, or I'm gonna just cook dinner right quick, and they always be like, it's never thrown together with you. It's never right quick with you. That don't ever happen with you. And I'm like, y'all don't know me, but I am gonna cut these onions and all of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do all of the things that it needs to do for it to be good. That's all I'm saying right there. Trey Snatch said eating vegan is cheaper than chemotherapy or dialysis. That's a fact. And half of y'all's asses don't got health insurance anyway.
Oh, we telling the truth and shaming the devil today.
Unless you move into Canada, you might as well go vegan. And they ain't about to let us in no way. They looking down like, yo, we live upstairs from a meth lab. It is wild in America.
That's true. That is very, very true. That's so true. All right. Well, we are at the hour mark. What do you want to leave anybody with anything? How can we support you? Let us know where we can find you, what you got coming up next.
What do I have coming up next? I have a new cookbook coming out. So my current cookbook, which is 21 Fresh, is a cookbook that really goes along with the vegan challenge. So it's a lot of your healthy recipes. There's 7 regular vegan recipes, 7 raw vegan recipes, and 7 Dr. Sebi alkaline recipes. It also comes with a playlist to cook with on Spotify or Apple Music, because I feel like everybody cooks to music. I feel like that's really cultural, right? We grow up and our parents cook. You got to sing to your food. It's not going to be good if you don't sing to it. So I included a playlist in the cookbook.
You can't sing.
Yeah, I can't sing either. Oh, I sound terrible. But they don't know. It's just like when you talk to your plants. So it helps your plants grow. Some people breakfast stink. They still talk to their plants. It's the intent. It's the love behind it. You got to sing to your food.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So I would say I have that coming up. I have a new cookbook coming out, which is going to be a soul food cookbook. So it's called Home for the Holidays, Recipes for Every Black Ass Occasion. And I'm really trying to encompass all of your Thanksgiving, your Christmas, your New Year's, your cookout, and your baby shower Black ass recipes, but the vegan version of that. That's coming out. What else is coming up for me?
So I did just
I just launched my website today.
Well, what is it?
Vegantrappin.com.
You supposed to tell me a long time ago.
I just launched it like 8 a.m. this morning. I was in a space of fear, and then I was just like, you know what? Fuck that. And then I launched it.
Oh,
I
this
don't
is
even think it's like done all the way, but I was just like, I'm gonna launch this because I can't keep waiting and being afraid and trying to be a perfectionist and looking at other people's websites. And I think it's very me.
it is very you. That's why I started laughing as soon as I saw it. So listen, everybody go check out Vegan Trappin,
Yes.
vegantrappin.com.
And if you go there and it says get vegan made easy, so that is you get a free, and mind you, this is just so I can get your email address so I can sell you shit later. But if you sign up for it, you get a free vegan made easy digital document, which basically gives you a grocery list, talks about like the restaurants that I said, like here's an easy switch. Your friends come into town and say, hey, we want to go out to eat. That's where you step in and recommend Japanese hibachi. And that's where you recommend Ethiopian food and Thai food and Mediterranean food, because they going to get what they want. You going to get what you want. Oh, I launched my store too on my website. So now you, before you could just order steak, now you can order nationwide shipping for the meatloaf, the smacking meatloaf, the smacking rib slabs, the smacking mac, the smacking steak, the smacking surf and turf. So you can get the shrimp and the steak together. I'm actually sending Kamari a little care package on Monday because he's always so good to me. Kamari is really like an awesome kind of like the cool uncle that lets you smoke. Like he's that to me. He's
I ain't gonna let you
awesome.
smoke. I might let you drink though.
Okay, that too. He's that uncle to me. He kind of leads me in the right way. I just think he's an amazing person, and we met because he was on my brother's live. And I have this weird tendency of like when I like people, I bully them into being my friend. And I was like, in my mind, I never said it to him. I was like, he's gonna be my friend. I don't know if he knows it. I don't know if he's gonna like it or not, but he's gonna be my friend. And then I just decided, like, I plotted on him, and he became my friend, and he became my mentor and my tax person, my tax black Jesus. He does my taxes and keeps me together because I didn't know that you're not just supposed to show up to the tax person with a suitcase full of misdated receipts and be like, hey, nigga, fix this. I didn't know that you wasn't supposed to do that. I didn't know you're supposed to talk to your tax person all year long. I
Yeah,
didn't know that. You're
only
supposed to
if
talk.
you're serious though. Only if you're serious.
Yes, if you're serious. And I was serious about my business, and I was like, hey, I really am serious. I want to get stuff done. So I met Kamari, and I was like, hey, let's do this. And he was like, no, this is a mess. This is a mess. He didn't say it like that. He said it very like lovingly. But he was just like, yeah, this is a mess. This is a mess. You cannot do this. No, I can't get you $1 million back. Not legally anyway. I don't want to go to prison. There's no vegan food in prison, so you obviously don't want to go either.
No,
Oh, somebody said a suitcase full of receipts. If Kamari was in Atlanta, he made me go through my own receipts. But if he was in Atlanta, that's what would have happened. I would have had not a carry-on either, a check bag full of the kind that Spirit charges you for. Okay, a check bag full of receipts, and I would have been like, "This is your problem now.
but
You fix my taxes."
So maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, I would have been the guy doing that. I don't do it anymore. I don't have the patience to do it anymore. It actually pisses me off now. And I used to do it, but I've realized, and that's, no diss to you, just being transparent. I can't service my clients when I'm busy doing that. And then to pay somebody to do it is hard. I have my son do it sometimes. I got a picture of my son doing it, but that's really hard at times. It's really hard. So
Yeah, and you know your worth. You know what I mean? That's
right.
it's beneath you now. So
It's not beneath me, right? I don't think about it like that. It's just not a great use of time. And
exactly.
I know sometimes I mince words, so forgive
Yes,
me.
it's not a good use of time. So I think that I launched my website. Can you show them the store so they can see? We're gonna try
Yeah.
to get a couple orders about this live.
Is the store connected to the website or?
Yes. So go back to the website and then you can dismiss that page where I'm trying to get there's a little white X in the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it says the trap.
The trap. All right.
Trap.
So everybody's not from the South on this. So please explain what the trap is.
The trap is the drug hole, the dope hole. It's where you go.
But you ain't selling dope. nor coke or none of that. So what's your meaning of trap? The trap.
I'm selling vegan dope. I'm selling vegan dope. So as you can see, those are all the things you can buy. The meatloaf, the surf and turf, which is you get a pound of steak and a pound of shrimp at a discount. You have the shrimp you can just buy by the pound, and then the next thing underneath that is the smack and rib slab, and I sell that by the quarter slab. And then you have the mac and cheese, the smack and mac, which most people know me for and has really blown up this week. Last week, actually, I got a contract to have my Smack and Mac in a vegan restaurant here in Atlanta. And the second day that it was at the restaurant, they called me and doubled their order for next week. So big things abound. And then, ironically, the last picture there is the Smack and Steak, which originally was my flagship product. I created the Smack and Steak, which is a soy-free meat substitute that I make from scratch with these black hands right here. Every batch is made from scratch. It's soy free. It is nut free, and you can use it for all types of things. Philly steak and cheese. I saw someone use it to make meatloaf. You can barbecue it. You can smother it. I use it for curry goat. You can do beef stew, carne guisada if you're Latin. And it is soy free. It's a meat substitute. You can grind it up and use it as taco meat. I've done that before. Spaghetti, put it in your lasagna, your stuffed peppers. And I created that. It was my brainchild, and I make every batch. It's made in small 7-pound batches. And we ship 1-day shipping nationwide. And I also put on there that it ships from Monday to Thursday because there's, especially because of COVID, there's no weekend guarantees on shipping. So
Right.
just to let people know. So it's like, hey, I placed my order because everybody wanted to support Black business. So they realized, bitch, we not Amazon. You not gonna get your shit tomorrow. So I put that on there specifically to let people know we only ship Monday through Thursday. So if you order Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like, you're not gonna get it over the weekend. That's not gonna happen. You're not gonna get it to the following week. And it's 1-day shipping, cold shipping, and then those are my digital products. So if you click those, I forgot to mention I have a kids book too. I actually have 4 books. Yeah. But you can click that and those digital products will link directly, download directly to your phone or to your mobile device or your computer. The first one is 21 Fresh, which is my cookbook that I just spoke about. The next one is Cook Vegan, but with seasoning. That is a cooking curriculum for a 4-course Mexican style dinner with a craft cocktail. So you have a mango mint margarita, you have a 7-layer dip, a quarter meal queso, spicy chorizo tacos, and apple cheesecake flautas. So you get all of the recipes for that, the grocery list. That also comes with the playlist because you got to sing to your food or it's not going to be good. Then the next thing is the kids book. For the people who know me and have been following me for a long time, my 2 loves in this world is cooking and travel. And so I wanted a book about travel, a book that, so you're on the cooking course. So all of the information for the cooking course is there that downloads directly to your phone or whatever. And then the next thing is the kids book. I wanted a book to inspire Black kids to travel from a young age because I didn't get my passport and start traveling until I was 25. And I went to college and I fucked off a lot of net checks on bullshit. And if I had known about traveling from before, I would have saved those net checks instead of buying Jordans, instead of buying all that other stuff. And I would have got a passport with my first net check. And then every Christmas and every summer break and winter break, I would have been in a different country before posting pics became a thing. I would have been in a different country, speaking a different language, might have not even never came back. Just because I didn't know that I could, huh?
Everybody that's watching, your net check was basically your refund back from
Yes.
the college you went to, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
when you go to school, I didn't pay. The government pays for you to go to school, and then they give you money that's left over after your courses and things are paid for, so you can buy your books or, so you can pay your rent, just things that help you sustain in school. But they give you such an abundance of it that a lot of people usually fuck it off. And I'm one of those. It's me. I'm people. I went to the mall and I bought name brand shit that my parents never bought me growing up and just whatever. But I would have bought a passport. So there wasn't any books around that inspired Black kids to travel. And so I went to Senegal in 2015 and I loved it. So I wrote this book from my niece's perspective, my niece whose name is Charlie. So it's called Charlie Travels to Senegal. And in the book, she goes to Senegal to meet her cousins. You learn French, which is the language of business in Senegal. And you also learn Wolof, which is the tribal language or the language that's spoken at home. So the kids learn languages, they see landmarks. And also, even though I lived in Ecuador, I felt like it was most important for Black kids to be encouraged to go back to Africa. So that's why I made the first, because it's actually a series. I have other books. They haven't been released yet for other countries. But I really wanted to inspire kids to travel. So that's the reason why I wrote that book. And then the last book there is a weight loss workbook. So it's called 28 to Great. And it's a workbook that you fill in yourself with the things that you need. So I'm asking you basically like key questions, kind of like a teacher. For those of you who don't know, my master's degree is in education, and I'm classically trained to be a teacher. So that's why I do the cooking classes and everything. So it's a workbook I ask essential questions and it helps lead you to your journey of losing weight. Because it's really not about food. It's not about working out. It's about shifting your mindset. So once you shift your mindset, everything else is easy. So that's all of the products that's on the website. I'm passing the Cash App collection plate around. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to help a young Black entrepreneur. You want to do the right thing. Miss Edith, you ain't at church this Sabbath. And I know you're looking for somewhere to get to tithe your 10%. Go right to vegantrappin.com.
And put an order in or send the Cash App.
Put an order in. I gotta send Kamari his food. I'm sending him a vegan care package because we gonna try to get him over to the dark side. Shout out to his daughter.
Well, I'm coming to the light side. That's the light side. But you can send me your package, but I'm gonna be buying something today too. But I wanna talk about something real quick, and then I want to come back and I want to ask you a question, Sunni, which will be our last question. But it'll lead us out.
Okay.
Listen, everybody. I have finally launched my podcast. So my podcast is up. It's up. The Finance Rebel Show. So you'll hear a lot of the shows that I do here will now be on the podcast. There will also be some independent, special, exclusive content up there. So I ask everybody go over to the Apple Store, subscribe to the show, look the show up, subscribe to the show.
It's on Apple, it's on Spotify.
Yep, it's on Apple, it's on Spotify. But listen, the podcast world still revolves around Apple for whatever reason. So go over there, listen to it, subscribe to it, and leave a review and a comment as well.
I'm about to download it right now. Look at you looking like a young Denzel on the cover. Wait a minute. I'm going to download it right now, right on Jesus Internet.
Black Jesus Internet.
Black Jesus Internet.
Actually, we should start that. Black Jesus Internet.
Listen, I'm here for it and I care for it. Okay, it's called The Finance Rebel. I'm going to type it in right now.
And so, Sunni, this episode will definitely be on there. There's other episodes on there.
Oh, for real? You gonna make me famous?
You already famous, boo.
Let me check my bank account because I had checked it around 11. And
listen, a lot of people are famous and ain't got no money. The two are not synonymous.
Okay, now that's a whole word. That's a whole nother show.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a whole nother show. Okay, so I'm following you and I need to subscribe to it.
So that's my ask for the audience that, rocks with me every week. I'm going to check out the show, rate and review, and we're going to get it popping. But
can I ask a finance question since we're on here? I know you have one more question for me.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I wanted to ask this because I know that fortune and fame are sold separately.
He's so right.
That's a quote. Actually, do you have rights to that? Because I'm about to put that on a shirt. You know what I'm saying? I'll give you your portion, Trace.
How about we split it and do it together?
I don't know about the split. Because the money is gonna be tied up in litigation. You feel me? Habeas corpus. You understand what I'm saying? Equity, big words that most of these niggas don't understand. And when I get mine, I get yours to you.
But what if I do it first? But what if I do it first?
I've already started it on this phone. You know what I'm saying, with the
Your
drop
brother,
shipping from
your brother came
AliExpress.
up with it, right? So the
So,
black
well,
dude,
he gonna get his on it. You
right, but
know,
the
you feel
black,
me?
I gotta yield to that. So your
It's
brother,
in the family estate, and you
right,
feel me? You basically family. So we gonna figure it out. We don't want to take up the people's time, you know, with these things. But I do have a financial question, and because this
okay,
is a finance show, so if you are an entrepreneur, and okay, so you have rent or you have a mortgage, right? I know a lot of these things can be written off, but my question is, when you pay your mortgage or your rent, do you actually pay that from what you pay yourself, or do you pay that with the money from the business because your office is where you live?
so that's a trick question, and it
Okay.
depends. So let's go with the first route. If your office is where you are at, if your office is in your home or your apartment and you're doing business out of this, you do qualify for a home and tax write-off, right? Where you can write off a portion of that.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the question you asked, though, but I did want to talk about that because a lot of people talk about that and they say you can write off your whole mortgage, your whole utilities, and that ain't true. You can write off a portion of it, and it's the portion that you use in relationship to your business. For example, let's say you have an apartment, it's 1,000 square feet, and you use 100 square feet of that apartment for your business. Well, you get to write off 10% because 100
Oh,
divided by 1,000 is 10%. You get to write off 10% of that. Now, to answer your question, where should you pay it from? I would say you pay it personally,
okay.
on personal funds, because it is a personal expense. However, you do get to write it off on your taxes.
Okay, and Miss Edith asks, "Can it be written off?" Yes, I'm telling y'all, y'all need to rock with Kamari. You feel me? Because he gonna get you a legal amount back. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't go the prison route. I'm from Miami. I was very tempted. I was like, Kamari, this not the numbers I'm used to seeing. But I also don't want to go to prison.
Yeah, see,
So
I think you would look good in orange jumpsuits. Like I look good in orange, but I don't look good in orange jumpsuits
orange
or
is really
those
my
government
color.
issue polo shirts. So
Orange is really my color, but they don't have no vegan food in prison. And you know me, because I don't want to get shanked. Because you bring it to me, I'm gonna say, "Where's the garlic powder?" They wouldn't let. They said that was contraband. So let me get back there.
or
Let
the
me do what I can
cilantro.
do.
You gonna be
Yes.
asking for cilantro
Where's the cilantro? Where's the seasoning? Where's the soul, brother? And then that's how you get shanked. I don't want to be shanked.
so shout out to Sunny. You are the first person to push back and ask me a question on my own show. I
Why?
appreciate it. I appreciate that.
While I can get, because I know the price is going up, so while I could get a question that I actually need answered, and I think the people would like to know an answer to for free, because the price does go up for consult. I thought that's what this was gonna be. I actually was gonna ask you a whole bunch of tax questions, but that ain't what this is. So go ahead.
But listen,
Let,
we can do that. I do that every Wednesday. It seems like people always want to talk about stock lately because that's more in vogue right now. But every Wednesday I do the Wealthy Wednesday where you can ask me anything. And for you, Sonny, we could do a whole show together where
what?
you ask me nothing but questions. How
Can we
about
do that? I can't do it this Wednesday, but can we do that? Because I have a whole list of part-time scammer questions that I want to ask you. Because my dad used to say the good people know the rules, the best people know the loopholes. And then you strike me as a loophole nigga. So
well,
I got a lot of questions.
I'm not a nigga. I hate that word.
Yeah,
I don't ban people's usage of it though. You can call me African, melanated, black person. Just don't call me a nigga.
got you.
Secondly, I like knowing the law, right? I like knowing what you can and you can't do. So I'm with that.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that. I think that would be fun. I think that would be fun. So Wealthy Wednesdays. You can't do it this Wednesday. You want to do it
Can't.
the Wednesday after that?
Let's talk about that off air because
Off
the
air.
schedule is whew. They said be booked and busy, it'll be fun, but actually you end up with drug addictions and not never sleeping. So
That's fact. Sleep is very important. Sleep is
bruh.
important. Yeah, but we can do that. That'll be fun. I think that'll be fun. I get a lot of them anyway. And I think we get a lot of people talking about stuff without proper context, and also not knowing what it takes to actually do it. So, Trey, I'm going to pick on you for a minute. So a lot of people are talking about trust these days, right? But they don't realize you actually need money to fund the trust. There's all different kinds of trust, right? But for most people, they don't have the money or the wherewithal to do trust. Yes, trust can be very powerful, right? A tool in and of itself isn't bad. Trust is just a tool. Lack of understanding and how to use the tool properly in proper context is what gets people locked up.
Amen.
And then broke.
Same right? thing with a gun. Amen.
Or a car, right? And so, guns don't kill people. People kill people. Somebody pointed it or didn't point it, and they didn't know what they were doing, and they took somebody's life, or at least harmed somebody that shouldn't have been harmed a lot of times. So we got to think a little bit deeper, because again, my audience is Black, just like yours. We get targeted for shit more than others, and that's just keeping it funky. So a lot of times with the part-time scammers, they don't really care about losing anything or any people. So you gotta be careful about that. I don't want to see no more of us behind bars. So that's why I'm straight-laced, because it's a bigger game out here. And I feel that business creation, wealth creation is a form of resistance, it's a form of rebellion, thus the finance rebel. So you got to think about it at a whole different level. And a lot of times we're thinking about it in short terms. We got to think about it from a longer term, even a generational standpoint oftentimes. But you got me preaching now, and that's not what this show is about.
Preach,
the show is about you.
Take your time today, Pastor. Take your time with us. And me and Edith supposed to be in service anyway. It's the Sabbath, so we supposed to be in service anyway. It's the same difference.
So we can do that. That'll definitely be fun.
Okay, what's your last question? Because I don't want to hold the people up. Let's make it plain, Pastor. And Natalia talking about part-time. Natalia, you is Haitian. You live in Miami. You don't get to make those kind of jokes, okay? You don't get to make scamming jokes, sis.
Listen, there are part-time scammers everywhere, though. So
they all disperse their knowledge and education from Miami.
I wouldn't say that, but a lot does go through Miami. Shout outs to Miami. So my last question, you said something that piqued my interest that I don't hear a lot of business owners talk about.
Okay.
I don't hear a lot of Black folks talk about.
Okay.
But you said you think Black children should travel back to Africa. And I wanted to know why you feel that way.
I think Black people should travel in general. And I think as African Americans, we don't travel a lot, right? Because for several reasons. One, that it's lack of access. You have, of course, this big population of people who have been incarcerated. You end up losing your rights after that. It's very difficult if you're a convicted felon to get, depending on what state you live in, you have to get pardoned by the governor, all of those things. But to see the world, right? So one of the things that I learned in Ecuador, so like, does racism exist? Racism is pervasive. I got that question a lot. Racism exists, right? But when I was in Ecuador, the racism wasn't "I'm going to kill you" racism. The racism wasn't "the police are going to kill you" racism, that you have these life-threatening circumstances. The racism is "I'm going to follow you around the mall because I think you're going to steal." Not necessarily because you're Black, but because all of the Black people I've seen have been poor. And so I think that you're going to steal because you're poor, not necessarily because you're Black, right? So I think it's important for Black kids to travel, to see the world, to see different perspectives, to see how people think, what the culture is in another place, how it relates. Because unfortunately, one of the downfalls of living in America is that we have an American centric perspective. Everything revolves around us, and then everything else is a subsidiary, and how they do things over there is wrong. And why are they doing this to their own people or that to their own people, when that really isn't the case at all. Like, a lot of people have said to me in different places, I go, well, isn't it dangerous? Or such and such amount of people just got killed over there, right? Like I just recently came back from the Dominican Republic. I went to Dominican Republic on vacation for 5 days, right? And a lot of people were like, because they had that big thing, I think earlier this year or last year, where a lot of tourists were getting killed from this liquor that they were drinking, some liquor that was getting mixed, and they were like, oh, it was poisoning them and they were dying. And they were like, oh, isn't it dangerous over there? I'm like, nigga, have you seen the news? Like, people are getting killed in Chicago. Like, if people just watch, people in other countries watched American news, like, why would I want to come to America? Like, look at the protests, look at the riots. We just had in Atlanta, I don't know if you guys have seen on national news, that they were doing some type of armed protest and a little girl got shot and killed. I think she was like 8 years old.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Is that going to keep another person from coming to any place in the whole 50 states of America just because this happened in an isolated region? Just because there's a high murder rate in Chicago? Just because niggas get robbed all the time in Miami? You know what I'm saying? People get scammed all the time in Miami. Am I going to stay out of America entirely? No. So I want Black kids to have that travel. And I think it's important for that so that they understand literally the world is yours. You literally, the world is yours. You can go anywhere in the world, and we don't. It's almost like why the cage bird sings. Like, you can fly anywhere in the world, but you stay in this cage all the time. You can go and see these other places. And a lot of people, Trey Snatches, my brother, he even tell you, when I moved to Ecuador, people call me crazy. Why are you leaving America? You don't know nobody over there. You don't speak Spanish. Like, what are you gonna do? I'm going to learn Spanish and I'm going to live over there and I'm going to be successful. Like, why not? And if I get sick of America and Uncle Donnie's shit, then I'll be on the run again. I mean, provided coronavirus pans out for the rest of us and they lift quarantines and stuff, I might get sick of America's shit and vegan trapping will be in Kenya or wherever else I decide that I want it to be. We don't have to live in this box, and people in other countries don't do that, right? So I had, when I lived in Ecuador, so we have a very crazy mindset. And I'll tell you, I walked into the orientation, and literally when I walked into orientation, there was only one other Black person in the room. Guess what? Guess what I did? Sat next to that nigga. You gonna be my friend. We're the only two flies in this bowl of grits, bitch. We're in it together. Sat next to him. You're gonna be my friend. That's what's gonna happen today. We end up becoming friends. We end up becoming roommates. And he's just a really great guy. Awesome individual. And right now he's getting his PhD in Norway. Right. When I met him, I thought he was just, I don't want to say a regular Black, because when I think of American, I think of like, oh, it's just a regular Black person. But I thought he was American. I thought he was African American. He ended up actually being from Cameroon, and he got his bachelor's and his master's degree here. And he lived in Puerto Rico, and he had already been backpacking through Thailand, and he was a teacher in South Korea for a while. So at this point, he's getting his PhD in Norway, and then he's about to do a fellowship in Australia. And once he does his fellowship in Australia, he will have lived on 6 of the 7 continents. And we're the exact same age. He's actually 6 days younger than I am.
Wow.
Because his perspective about travel and about the world was different than what we got. Most other countries, babies have their passports. And it's not a thing. Like, you say, oh, I really like, I don't know, music. And France has the best school for music. People in other countries, like, I'm going to France. I have a friend who's from Bermuda. She got her master's degree in Spain. And it's cheaper. Like, he got his master's degree, actually, he got his second master's degree in Sweden. He said the entire program for the 2 years, including the books and everything, was $8,000. And he got a scholarship for $5,000. And they gave him work study to pay for the other $3,000. So he essentially paid nothing for his master's degree. In Germany, you can study up to a PhD for free.
I get it.
Yeah, Natalia said, I encourage travel. There's so much more outside of the US. So much more. We're not beholden to this. I always say Black people are in a bad relationship with America. They feel like my niece Charlie, which I wrote the book for, Charlie Travels, has a stamp on her passport. We're so brainwashed. It's like you're with, I know you, I'm not calling you a nigga, but I'm just saying nigga. It's like the girl who stays with the nigga, and it's like the nigga keeps telling you like, hey, I'm gonna free you. You know, hey, I'm gonna give you your rights. I'm gonna give you equity. I'm gonna give you equality. And then you turn around and he done cheated again. And it's like, okay, I cheated, but I ain't get that hoe pregnant. Like, okay, so I said I was gonna free y'all, y'all free to walk around and shit, but not without getting killed by the police. You know what I mean? And we don't leave the relationship. We complain, we march, we never leave the relationship. She never leaves this nigga who's like terrible to her for most of the relationship, but then sometimes it's like, well, I let y'all vote, I let y'all read, like I let y'all have internet, like I let y'all have TikTok, y'all make up dances, y'all got rappers, y'all got like, I'm not treating you bad, you know what I mean? And people are so woven into that American dream. And even the people who say, well, we built this country. Okay, you built it, but you still don't even get to be inside the house. So what's the point?
You done said a whole lot. It's funny. I use a different analogy, but very similar. I say it's like when two people get divorced, but they're so committed to, one's committed to staying with the other or attached with the other, that they won't go out and be free on their own and do their own thing and live their life. And
Exactly.
so they're trapped in this tormented cycle of abuse because they won't figure it out, but they keep the last name, they keep everything else, and they won't go any further. But
Natalia said, I went to law school in the UK. It was cheaper and faster than in the US.
Yeah, I need to research that. That's pretty dope.
It's really important and something that I really want to touch on, because you asked me about this previously with my business. When I was in Ecuador, I was actually a professor at a university. And the biggest thing that I can say is the work-life balance. America is all about work. Even if you remember when the quarantine first started, right? People were like, if you don't have a best-selling book and a Forbes 500 company after this quarantine, then you never was just being held down by your job. You was just lazy. You need to have this. Like, we don't ever get rest. When I was in Ecuador, I had 2 classes a day. I only taught for 4 hours a day. I never had more than 18 students. I had such a quality of life. I was able to actually enjoy the country. Here, every single thing is work. We're working around the clock. And that's why that's another reason why I started my business, is because when I came back from Ecuador and I was like looking like, hold on, wait a minute. You want me to go from 30 students to 150 students? You got me fucked up. You want me to be there all this time. You want me to grade all these papers, take all of this home. Like when I was a teacher in the States, I used to take home stacks of paper. Whole weekend we'd be shot. I would tell you, I actually used to watch the, if you ever heard of the Hunger Games series, you know, I used to watch the Hunger Games series every Sunday while I was grading all of the papers that my students had done, like going through all of them. There's all these rigid guidelines. You can't do this. You can't do that. You have so many students. You can't really give them the time, the care, the attention that they need. You're so stressed out from all of the guidelines from your principal, your AP that's coming down from the state. You know, you can't live. So the cost of living in Ecuador, I had a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom apartment in a gated community. I paid $220 a month. I made $300 more there than I did as a teacher in Florida. And my rent in Florida for my condo was $1,000. $1,000 plus my car payment, plus insurance, plus whatever else. I didn't have that. I was able to save $1,000 to $1,500 every month when I lived in Ecuador. Easily, not even stressful, not even like, hey, like all of my bills, including my credit card that I had from the States, all equated to like $500 a month.
Man, we might all need to move to Ecuador with rent prices like that. But listen, Sunni, this is my longest wealthy conversation. And again, this is the first one where anybody has ever pushed back and asked me a question. So this definitely goes down as probably the most special wealthy Saturday that I've ever done. And I appreciate you and I honor you. And I'm honored by having you here. And I also appreciate everyone that signed on and that's watching with us live as well. Please go follow Sunni. Order some food from her. I'm going to order some food from her today. Y'all know I'm all about that black business life. It's not a fad. It's a lifestyle. So support a black business today. I'm going to support Sunni today. I'm about to pull out my card right now. Going over to Vegan
What's
Chef.
your card number? I'll hold it.
I ain't giving you that.
You're from Miami. Just give me your card number. I got you.
Cool. That's cool.
I'm going to put the order in for you.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. I'll do it through the website.
What's the little number on the back?
000 or 007. But listen, everybody go follow Sunni. Sunni Speaks on IG, Sunni Speaks on YouTube, Sunni Speaks on Facebook, right?
Yes.
And check Sunni out. You'll love her just like I love her. Again, I will see you all on Wednesday, 8 p.m. sharp. I will not miss this week and next Saturday as well. So we got 2 guaranteed times a week. Like I said, check out Sunny and check out the Finance Rebel Show. Thank you again, and I will see you all next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.